Jesus freak here. In textual criticism, there is a maxim that translates to the harder reading is stronger. Now, if you were to apply this consistently to Scripture, you'd wind up with a very bizarre text that makes no sense. Honestly, I think whoever came up with that expression was a skeptic at best and probably an atheist. Now, I don't always agree with the textual choices that the Reformers made, but I agree even less with Nestle-Aland. See, there's this philosophy that a couple bizarre manuscripts that happen to be older are more correct than thousands of other manuscripts. And they overlook other manuscripts of similar age because they don't fit the narrative. You don't hear a lot about Codex Alexandrinus. Why? Because the Gospel's a Byzantine, even though I think it's a 4th or 5th century manuscript. But you're always hearing, Sinaiticus this, Vaticanus that. And those are hopelessly corrupt manuscripts. If you're basing on the idea that these manuscripts are more accurate because they're weird and weirder readings are more likely to be original, well, first of all, you gotta straighten your head. It's on backwards. Secondly, you probably don't believe in the authenticity of the word. You don't believe that it's theopneustos, inspired by God. You think it's just a human writing and you're treating it as a human writing. Or you're, being different to be different. Or to stir up controversy. Or to sow confusion, you know who the author of confusion is. It ain't God. It's a hint. There are multiple warnings in Scripture about tampering with it. You notice most of the criticism deals with the New Testament. No one cares about the Old. You aren't going to get any sort of faith-shattering kaboom from Old Testament textual criticism. Believe me, they tried. They tried with the Dead Sea Scrolls. And it went all... It's like, where's my kaboom? That was supposed to be a faith-shattering kaboom. But nope. It actually strengthened our faith in the transmission of the Old Testament. But the evidence shows And not necessarily just your majority text. There's evidence for other Textus Receptus readings that are not Byzantine. And I stand by some of these readings, even though they are not Byzantine. You look at Robinson Pierpont, you're not going to find Acts 8:37. But I have absolute faith that that's authentic words of Luke. And that anyone who says, oh, they're not original, probably has an axe to grind. Because it pushes the requirement of credo baptism. Believers' baptism. Hedges predominantly on this verse, so they got to take it out so they could do their baby sprinkling. Whoever's backing Nestle-Aland is going about it the wrong way. Either unintentionally, because they're misguided, or intentionally, because they're agents of some nefarious scheme. And the Church of Rome, for example, is one of those nefarious schemes. I'll admit, there are some questionable readings in a lot of editions of the Textus Receptus. Beza explained in detail when he went and took Revelation 16:5 and changed its reading against all manuscript tradition. He said he felt there was corruption that leaked in the text early, and he was fixing it. I'm not sure I agree with that idea, but that's what he did, and that's how you have which art and wast and shalt be at Revelation 16:5, where all the manuscripts say which art and wast and art holy. There's obvious corruptions. Revelation 22:19, where the text reads the book of life. And that's because Erasmus was missing the verse. He back translated it from Latin, and somewhere along the line, someone had misread the word ligno, which means tree, as libro, meaning book. And that's an understandable mistake, but that's a Latin mistake. But those are minor things. You have people saying 12 whole verses is of questionable authenticity in John 7 and 8. You have people doubting the whole epilogue in Mark. I mean, yeah, there's people who abuse it, scripture, saying, oh, Mark 16:18 says that people follow Jesus are going to pick up snakes. So they do it to test their faith. And you know what I say? The Bible also says, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. If he thinks you're trying him, he's going to mess with you. If he thinks you're trying to prove that he exists, he's going to pretend not to exist. Just to screw with you. Because he does that. He doesn't have to prove he exists. The very existence of the universe is proof that he exists. But back to the point. The whole philosophy behind the modern critical New Testaments is backwards. As such, we shouldn't rely on them. The philosophy Hodges and Farstad used, as seen in the majority text notes in the New King James Version, and the philosophy that Robinson and Pierpont used, it's not perfect, but it's an improvement. If you look over the evidence with a Christian worldview and a Christian perspective and a Christian theology backing in your decisions, you'll find that the results are going to be very similar to the received text. That's just the way it is. Jesus freak out.